Hey lovelies, I am Vance. Welcome back to my channel. In our last tutorial, I taught the drafting of this beautiful gown, while in today's tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew all of the pieces together. If you've not watched the drafting parts, I'll link the video in the description box so you can go and watch it. So this was the one I made, guys. This is so beautiful. So if you're interested in knowing how it was all made, then you need to watch this video to the end. So guys, I've gone ahead to cut all of my piece together. In our last tutorial, we stopped at the cutting part of it. So I have also gone ahead to cut out the lining. The facing I'm going to use is not a long one, it's actually a short one. So this is the back. I've also gone ahead to cut all of the piece together. Then for this vintage fabric, guys, I'll be sharing it into two. I'll be sharing the fabric into two for the side gather around. So this was me sharing the fabric into two. Remember, it's 2 yards. So I'm sharing it into two equally. So when I'm done with the cutting, I'll go ahead and separate it 1 yard for one side and the other yard for the other side. So I folded 1 yard like this, and then this part is closed. So the part that is opened is the part that I'm going to place my pattern. So this was me placing my pattern. I placed it on the part that is open. So you should do the same thing. Since we're not doing a splash and spread method, I think this is like the best and easiest method you can use for this gown. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add allowance like 3 inches down. You can use more than 2 yards of fabric to do it if you want it to be very full. But I used 2 yards because that was what I had. So basically, I went ahead to cut out all of it. So this was me still cutting. When I'm done cutting, guys, I'll go ahead and cut our sleeve. I've already drafted our sleeve of the camera. So this is the fabric I'll be using. So the part that is stretchy will be the length, while the part that is not stretchy will be the width. I'll repeat again, the stretchy part is the length and the non-stretchy is the width. So I'm going to place my pattern paper like this on it, and I will adjust it to fit the pattern paper. I love this net so much and I don't want to waste it. I want to use it for something else. So basically, this was me when I was pinning down, and then I'll go ahead and cut out the sleeve. So this was me cutting. When I'm done cutting again, I'm going to go ahead and fold the net fabric again into two, and then I will place this one that I've cut on it. So this was me folding into two, and then I placed the one that I've cut before on it, just like this, and then I'll go ahead and secure it down with a pin, just the way you see me doing. Then I'll go ahead and cut out the sleeve. So when I'm done cutting the sleeve, guys, the next thing I'm going to do is to cut the flay. So this is the leftover fabric that I'm using to cut the flay. I folded the flay into 8 equal parts because I'm cutting 2 of the flays together. Now, to get the circumference of your flay, you will get your last round sleeve divided by 6.28. Whatever you have, that's what you're going to mark. So basically now, I had 1 inch for my round sleeve, but I added extra 1 inch, making it 2 inches because I want to gather this flay into the sleeve. I hope you get. So the length of the flay I used was 5.5. I went ahead to mark my 5.5 round like this in a circle, and then I'll go ahead and cut out. So I'm cutting out the 5.5, and I'll also go ahead and cut out the circumference of 2 inches. So this was it when I was done cutting. Are you seeing? We have 2 sleeves, 2 flay rather. So guys, I went ahead now to bring in my patterns that I've cut already. So I'm going to go ahead now and separate them. So I'm separating them right now so that we could go and sew it down. Are you seeing, guys? So I'm separating my center front. I'm going to place my side front on my center front like this, and then I'm going to pin it down. I'll do the same thing for the other side. My side front, I'll place it on my center front and pin down. I'll do the same thing for the lining part. Are you seeing? So I'm going to go to the sewing machine and sew it down, but not yet. Before I do that, I'm going to also place the lining like this, right side facing right side, center front and side front together, and I'll pin down. So when I'm done pinning, guys, I'll go to my sewing machine and I'll sew it down like this by 1/2 inch. I'll do the same thing for this other part. I'll sew it down by 1/2 inch, and I'll do the same thing for the lining piece too. I'll set it aside and bring the back block. So this is my back block, guys. I'm taking away the pins, then I opened up my back block, and then I placed the center back and the center front together just like this. The side back on the center back, I pinned down. I did the same thing for the other side, the side back and the center back together, and I pinned down. I did the same thing also for the lining. If you notice, this lining is actually a short one because it's a crepe fabric. We don't need all of those long this thing. So basically this is just like a facing. So I think you should do the same thing for your own end. I would not advise you to use bias to turn this dress. Facing is better and is neater. So guys, this is all of it for the back. I'll go and sew by 1/2 inch on the main fabric and on the facing. So this is the yoke, guys, for the back. I'm setting aside all of the pins, and then I'll open it up like this, and then I'm going to go ahead and place the lining on the yoke. I'll do the same thing for the front yoke too. So this was when I was done sewing the front part of our dress, guys. Are you seeing? I also went ahead to top stitch. I went ahead also to sew the facing. Are you seeing, guys? I sewed it and I also top stitched on it. So this is our back. Are you seeing, guys? I've gone ahead to also sew the back, and I have also top stitched on the back and the facing. And then this is the yoke. I've not ironed any of this. I just sewed them down, but I've not ironed. So this is the yoke for the back. I'll go ahead and iron all of this together, and I'm going to show you how it looks when I'm done ironing. So guys, this is the back. I have gone ahead to iron it. Are you seeing? Even the facing, I've also gone ahead to iron. It looks better when ironed. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the yoke. I'm going to place the yoke on it. Are you seeing the facing? I'm kind of arranging it so you could see it properly. So I'm facing the yoke, right side facing right side, just the way you see me doing right now. And then I'm going to go ahead and place the other yoke on the other side of our back block, and then I'll take the facing and I'll place the right side of the facing on the right side of the yoke. So this was me placing it, guys. I'll do the same thing for the other part too. Then I'll go ahead and hold it with a pin. When I'm done holding it with a pin, guys, I'm going to go ahead and now sew it down by 1/2 inch. So I'm holding the both sides with a pin. So you should do the same thing. Hold with a pin to secure it down. So I'll go ahead now and sew by 1/2 inch on both sides. So guys, this is the right side of our dress. Don't mind how the breast part is folded. That's because there's no cup, there's no breast pad or whatever. So don't mind how it looks. So this is my yoke, guys. I've gone ahead to iron all of it. The yoke, the facing, I've ironed it all out. So this is the facing, guys. What I'm going to do before I place it here, I'm going to bring in this a cape around that chest area. So I'm going to bring it in. So guys, from the armhole area, I came in by 0.75. I'll go ahead and mark it, and then the length of the width of the cape I'm going to be using is 5.2. I marked it there. I did the same thing for this other part, guys. I marked the 0.75 at this end, that's armhole area, and then I marked my 5.2 inches at this point. This is just like a guide. It's going to guide you on how to cut your cape around the chest area. So this is the fabric I'll be using, my vintage fabric, the leftover for the cape. So now this is what I'm going to do. Remember that the length that we are going to use is 5.2, but we are going to add extra 1 inch, making it 6.2. So now I went ahead to mark it, I marked my 5.2 here just like this, and I went ahead to add extra 1 inch, making it 6.2. For the length, I'm going to be using 4 inches for the front part. That's for the center front side of the cape, and then for this part I'll be using 2.5. Initially I wanted to use 3 inches, but I decided to use 2.5. So I went ahead to connect all the points together. Are you seeing, to give us that cape? I did the same thing for this other part. I marked my 5.2 and then I added my 1 inch, making it 6.2, just the way you see me doing. This is my 1 inch I'm marking. Then for the length, I used 4 inches here, I marked it, and then I used 2.5 inches here and I marked it. I went ahead to connect the points together just the way you see me doing. So when I'm done connecting, I'll go ahead and cut out our cape just the way you see me doing. So guys, at this point, if you've not subscribed to my channel, please do well to subscribe, like, comment on my video, share to your friends who need to see this. So on the cape, I'm going to sew 1/2 inch round, except for this upper part. I'm not going to sew the upper part. I'm not going to sew that part, so I'm going to sew it and show you how it looks. So when I'm done sewing, guys, I place the cape under the dress like this because I want it to have the shape of my curve. That's my breast curve. I did the same thing for this part like this. I put the cape under and then I trimmed out the excess. So watch what I'm doing. I put the cape under like this and then I arranged it. Are you seeing? If I put it like this, it's going to be gaping. So that's why I had to make it equal with the breast curve, like the curve around the neck area, so that it's going to fit well. If you don't do this, your cape is going to be gaping around that chest area. So it's advisable that you follow this pattern so it won't gape around there. So this was when I was done trimming out the excess, and then I noticed that it was not equal at that end, so I had to place the both of the cape together like this and trim out the excess. So this was me trimming out the excess from the cape, just the way you see me doing, guys. I'll go ahead at this point and place the cape on my dress just the way you see me doing. When I'm done placing the cape, I'm also going to go ahead and introduce my yoke and my facing, and I'll sew them together. So this is my back block. I've gone ahead to sew the back yoke and everything. I've also sewed the front yoke and the facing together just the way you see me doing, guys. Are you seeing our dress is already coming out? So next thing I'm going to do is to place my back block on the front block just like this, and I'm going to sew it down by the shoulder. So I'm going to place it shoulder to shoulder like this, and I'm going to sew it down just the way you see me doing. I'm going to sew down by 1/2 inch. So you should also do the same thing for yours. And then I'll sew the sides too. I'm going to shape the sides with the allowance that I left. So when I'm done, I'm going to show you how it looks like. So guys, this is how it looks like. Don't ignore the breast part because it will fit. It's actually my cup, so it's going to fit. So this is the sleeve, guys. I've gone ahead to cut it. So I'm going to go ahead now and show you how I'm going to attach the flay to the sleeve. So this is the flay. It's wider than the sleeve, the round sleeve. So it's wider because I'm going to be pleating the flay round the sleeve. So this was me trying to arrange it so you see. So this was when I was done attaching my flay to the dress. Are you seeing, guys? Everything is already coming out properly the way it should be. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to attach my gather. So this is our vintage fabric. I'm removing the pattern paper that I used to cut out the curve from the vintage. So I'm going to go ahead and use my sewing machine to draw gather around this area, because remember it's a side gather. So I'm going to do that and I'll show you how it looks like when I'm done. So guys, this was when I was done stitching the gather. So I'm going to just use my hand to drag it gently. You have to be gentle with it. It took time though to gather all of this, but when I'm done gathering it, I'll show you how it looks like. So I've gone ahead to draw my gather. Are you seeing? And I also did it the same thing for the other part. So I'm going to go ahead now and bring in our dress so that I'll start placing it on the dress. So this is our gown. I'm going to trim out this excess right here. So I'm going to go ahead now and bring in the gather. The midpoint of the gather is going to meet the midpoint, that is the side joining of our gown. So I went ahead to pin it down, and then I will go from this point and just arrange it the way I want it to be on the dress. So this was me arranging. You could see that at this point I didn't draw gather because this part is going to be straight, while at this other side, that was where I started my gather, because the gather is basically around the waist part, so it's not up to the length of the gown. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So I went ahead to pin all of it together, and I did the same thing for the other side. When I'm done pinning, I'm going to show you how it looks like. Just watch how I pin them all down and do the same thing for your own.
A girl likes you, but you don't know. You don't know.
So I'll go ahead and sew it all out. I'll do the same thing for the other side. So guys, this was when I was done sewing. Are you seeing? Our dress is almost ready. So this is the button that I'll be using. I did a cover button with my vintage fabric, so I'm going to just arrange it around this area. So for the length that I'll be using, although I'm just arranging it, is 2.5. I used 2.5, but right now I didn't measure, but what I used afterwards was 2.5 spacing. So you should do the same thing for yours, guys. We are almost done with this tutorial, so I'll go ahead add lining to this part so that it will be fuller. It's okay to add lining. The lining will make it to be fuller instead of just being anyhow. But if you're using Ankara fabric, there's no need for lining. That's your choice. But because I use a vintage fabric, and you know how vintage fabrics can be, so this is the lining that I'll be using. I'll be using this lining. I cut it into the same shape, and then I'll go ahead and gather it, and then I'm going to show you how it looks like. But before then, I minus the length of my vintage is 18 inches, but I'll be using 16 inches for the lining, so it will not start poking out of the dress. So this is the dress that I'll be attaching the lining. This is our dress. I'm going to open it up like this, guys, and then I'm going to place the lining. So the lining is going to meet, the midpoint of the lining will meet the midpoint of our dress. That's the side joining is going to meet the midpoint of the lining, just the way you see me doing. Are you seeing? I notched the midpoint of the lining and placed it at the side joining of our dress, and then I'll go ahead and just gather it all around this area down to the full length. But the full length of this dress, I didn't take the lining up to the full length. I came up by 1 inch because you know I'm going to be hemming the dress, so I don't want to hem the dress with the lining. I hope you understand, guys. So I'll do it and then I'll show you how it looks like. So guys, we're almost done. I'm going to even fix the zip. So basically this was it when I wore it, guys. We've come to the end of today's tutorial. Please do well to like, share my videos, subscribe, guys, and I'm going to see you in my next tutorial. Bye.